Yes, 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 yes. Yes, 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 yes.
Curi-YAAS podcast with Giselle Mirasol
and Billie.
Yes! Yes!
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, 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 yes. Curi-YAAS podcast with Giselle Mirasol and Billie.
Welcome to the Curi-YAAS podcast, a podcast that says yes to cross-dressing sexuality and gender.
Yes.
I'm your trans woman host, Billie. Today's very, very special guest is someone who I've been actually trying to get on the podcast since I took it over, I think, because I just
For
thought
a
it'd be
long
really...
time.
I just thought it'd be a really cool... I'm hearing that click-clacking.
Sorry.
That means everyone else is hearing it super loud.
I was just moving the pen thing out of the way.
Oh, there are pins. I thought you had a fancy keyboard.
No.
You probably do though. I don't know. I lost my train of thought. Anyway, today's very special guest is none other than my ex-wife, Lauren. Lauren, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi. I'm Lauren. Ex-wife. It's weird to say that. Like, I don't know. It's weird to say ex-wife because I felt like I haven't been a wife for a long time, you know. And
How long?
For a long time, like many years. I mean, I know that we were still married, but it doesn't feel like I was a wife for a while. So,
Dang, hitting hard at the very beginning. Dang.
Well, it just that goes into my my like feel of myself, you know. You know what I'm saying? The gender expression or whatever. Yeah.
So we married in 2014. It was Star Wars Day by luck of the Force, I guess.
Well, we had to push it. We had to push it one day ahead because I was going to school and I had finals that week, ironically. And I couldn't get out of it, so I had to push the wedding a day forward, which was really unfortunate. There was a lot of chaos in the family, and it's just really stressful. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was a rough time. I know it was very chaotic on my end, but I was probably really like messed up or something. So, because the guy is trying to get you all drunk before the big wedding.
Yeah, you had the drunkenness of it. I had the school stress and having to graduate and all of that. And then get married right after that. It was a lot. I mean, the day turned out better than I thought it would. Like, it turned out really well for the most part, even with all the drama.
Yeah, I remember I had a lot of fun, and there were just a lot of great people there, and the beach definitely turned out really gorgeous, and
yes,
all of our friends and family really came together and helped us out and made it a beautiful, beautiful time.
Yeah, that was a good thing about it, was everybody pitched in and made things really nice. So it wasn't all terrible. It was all of the stress beforehand.
Hmm.
Um,
So you were still a wife at that point. Well, maybe not exactly at that point, but
Still a wife. I just began to be a wife.
so how long into wifehood did you stop feeling like you were a wife?
The last couple of years.
So that's like 2017,
Um, when did we
2018,
get divorced? Like it's
2020.
2020?
Yeah,
Okay.
because we
Um,
celebrated at the drag show.
right. um, yeah, like I guess maybe 2018. I can't really pick an actual date, but
Hmm.
it started to just become a burden for me because of my own inner turmoil and shame.
Mm-hmm. Your own inner
Um,
turmoil and shame about your sexuality.
yeah, yeah, and wanting more out of like wanting a romantic connection.
Mm-hmm.
And like we had a friend connection, a
For sure.
platonic friend connection. And I didn't realize at the time that there's a difference because most of the people I've been with were just hookups before that. They weren't people I was dating for a while. And even then, like, those are really stupid relationships, like a high school one and then a college one. So,
They were meaningful though.
I mean, they were meaningful in dumb ways.
I mean, you learned a lot. Like you learned your life lessons from those dumb relationships.
Yes, yeah. But it all goes, like, a lot of it goes into attraction. Like, what is attraction and different types of attraction? And I didn't really understand that. I don't think a lot of people do,
In what way?
especially, um, at least in the like the flavor of the rainbow sector. All of that, it's confusing. Um, so there's physical connection, like, oh, that person's really hot, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's um, intellectual attraction for somebody's like intellect or mind. There's um romantic connection. There's something that's hard to describe, but like a soul kind of connection.
How would you
Um,
describe that?
that's like really, really deep. And not like that. Stop. Like that.
You said it, not me.
I saw your face. Like, really, really fucking connected, but you don't, it's hard to describe it. It's like you don't have to say anything to that person, but they know, like, how you're feeling and what you're thinking and what you need, what you don't. Like, they can read you. Um, and they know you, right? There's that kind of connection. And do you hear Bruno?
I do hear Bruno. I miss him.
Yeah, he's just being ridiculous. Um, what other types are there? Somebody told me once, and I wrote it down. This is when I first was kind of dating using the apps. I don't
Mm.
remember anymore.
Is that was after you came out
Yeah,
to
it was
me?
after. Yeah.
So you
So,
you were desiring other desires and attractions
yes, I was
and all this other
really.
stuff, and you were going through your own inner turmoil, inner shame and guilt and
Uh-huh.
thought loops, and I'm assuming
Yeah.
fears that you were just reoccurring in
Yeah.
your mind. What brought
Yeah.
all that
Like
up?
a year after we married, it was a really hard time for you because your parents, your dad was dealing with the cancer, and we were not seeing each other that much because I had the night shift,
Hmm.
and I just felt super alone. Um,
You got a grandma
like,
rocker over there.
yeah, now I can't reproduce it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Good. Good. Now continue your story. So you were really
Um,
alone. I'm sorry.
so, so I had this dream about my old friend from high school, Christine,
Hmm.
and I had a crush on her in middle school, but I just ignored it. I just kind of blew it off. Like, oh, everybody has a crush on their same sex friend in middle school. Um,
They do.
and yeah, so um, I was like, oh, well, what does that mean? Right. And in the dream, we were just holding hands, but we were really happy.
Hmm.
And I thought, okay, what does this mean? Why is this what I actually need? Like, do I really, am I gay? It just spurred on this whole crisis in my head. And that, um, that, that started it.
That released the floodgates.
Yep. And unfortunately, I didn't have good therapy in that regard for that because I did bring it up a couple times, and my insurance was terrible in San Antonio. It's the worst insurance I've ever had. Nobody wanted to take me because it was like basically Medicare or something that, and nobody took it in San Antonio. So I barely got a therapist, and they stuck me with this person that was like a like a trainee, like not actually graduated yet,
Hmm.
but they were getting their hours. So she wasn't really listening to me, which is a huge trigger.
It's
That's a
not a good
huge
start to
trigger
her
for me.
career either.
Right. And so after a couple sessions, because they had to, with my consent, they had to record our sessions, they kicked her out.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, I was put with somebody else, but by that time I was already moving away to Houston.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so I got this one lady for like 2 sessions, and I brought it up with her. I was like, I've been thinking about, women and what does this mean, blah, blah, blah. I'm married to a guy. I don't really know what to do. And we never got it resolved, obviously. Um, so then we moved to Houston,
Mm-hmm.
and I just ignored it. I just suppressed it. And it was okay for a little bit because things got a little bit easier between us, but it still wasn't what I really wanted.
Yeah, I know our
And
schedules aligned a lot better
yeah,
at that time, so we were able to spend more time together.
yeah. Um, but I was wanting like passion and shit,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
romance and passion, and I wasn't getting that. So I did it. Where did it go? I got it from my head, fantasy world.
Mm-hmm.
But that became too much over the years, and I had to deal with a lot of things in therapy before I could get to the sexuality part. Um, so that took at least a year. I had a really good therapist at that point. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so everything had settled in that way. And then um, finally started getting into uh, am I gay? Am I not? I don't know. But I got stuck in this thought loop and this shame of feeling guilty that I wanted something else, but being married and still like not wanting to hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I had that for a long time, feeling a lot of shame because if I ever brought it up with a therapist, they would do the bullshit thing that every Texas therapist does. Well, you're just not getting what you need from your marriage, so you need to fix the marriage. You're not gay.
Well, maybe the marriage just needs to end, Shit.
Right.
Sometimes things
But,
can't be fixed, unfortunately. Or
right.
fortunately.
Well, down the road, yeah, fortunately. Um, but I just could not get any validation from therapists.
Mm-hmm.
And we had even gone to, well, that was after. So I started like it started eating me inside, this guilt and shame of wanting to be with women. And that took another couple of years till it got to this point where I just couldn't take it anymore. And I went online and found this website with these bi women. It's called Shy Bi.
Shy Bye.
Shy Bi.
Hey, I'm Shy Bye. I'm just kidding.
And it, I mean, looking back on it now, you know, it was helpful, but it was also some of the women on there, it's like they could perpetuate their denial
Mm-hmm.
by sneaking around on that website.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like being in denial about who they are because they don't want to leave their husband because they feel guilty. and they still love that person, but they also, it's that trap, the catch 22, right?
Hmm.
Hey, my orientation is changing, or it's becoming more fluid. I want to see if this is real, but I can't do anything because I'm married.
There's a big giant parallel there with the whole Curi-YAAS listener base and the
Yeah,
the cross dressing and trans community. I think for sure.
yeah. And in what way?
Well, because there's a lot of, I would say, in my opinion, I don't want to label somebody for what they are or aren't. That's not for me to
Oh,
say.
yeah,
But there are some people that I generally consider crossdressers trans trans people or yeah, trans people, just because I think that's such an umbrella term, that it does encompass the whole like gender expression, even if it's in private by yourself
yeah,
or in whatever way. Because I know there are people that, in my opinion, I would consider trans that I feel like if they felt the safety and support that like that they would need or require to come out, like instead they're the only way they can get their like fixed and to like say it's okay because I'm just doing this like in my secret time,
yeah.
and that's how they like
Yeah.
they bide their time. And I'm assuming that's
Survive.
kind of what you
Yeah.
mean with going on the shy by,
Well, me
in a sense.
surviving, yeah, well, that was towards the end, but um, me surviving was me dissociating a lot when I
Hmm.
was thinking about women while we were, doing things, or I was doing something at home alone, right?
Stay tuned for the Patreon
Yeah,
exclusive.
yeah, Patreon exclusive fantasies.
If you want to listen to Lauren do all the dirty talk and maybe even
XXX fantasies.
turn that fan on behind her and all the wind blow her hair, you have to
Where
pay
is
money
that?
for that one.
Where is that place? Adult Megaplex.
XXX.
XX. Yeah.
That was in San Antonio.
I was really at the time. I was really like scared of that place, but it had a lot of variety of stuff. It was a
Hmm.
really good sex shop.
Oh, it was the Adult Megaplex XXX.
It was
Something
very
like that.
um Megaplex. Sponsored by. Well, yeah. So that's how I survived, was just being in my head all the time. But that wasn't. That was killing me slowly. It's killing my
Hmm.
soul. And I finally got to this breaking point where I was talking to this one woman online, and she was in the same situation, but she was in more denial than I was.
Hmm.
And I had gotten to this, like, kind of fuck it phase of, like, I know this is really bad and I'm going to hate myself for this, but I need to know for sure. Right. So, um, we had like a little texting chat thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, there wasn't any pictures or there's nothing like that, but we just had a chat with words. And by the way, I felt terrible about all of this. Um, but I also knew that it was the ending of everything. Like I knew this is going to be the end of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that, and I tried to be normal for a week, and that was impossible because I'd like to think I'm an honest person, and I don't want to lie to people. And it was really hard for me to lie, and I I was starting to get physical symptoms of this guilt, like
Ooh.
throwing up and shit, like stomach problems.
You were blaming it on the lactose intolerance. I get it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, even people at work were like, "What's wrong with you? You don't look good." And I'm like, "Oh, I just ate something bad the other day." Like,
I must have been
no.
like super oblivious or just in my own head dealing with my own shit. Just
Um,
disassociating just as much.
you you were just angry at everything.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That too.
um,
That too.
I don't know what was happening with your parents around then, but I know it was bad.
Was that when my mom was having her breast cancer or no, her lung cancer stuff?
I
'Cause
think
that was after
so.
my dad. That was after my dad passed.
Okay, yeah, yeah, because your dad died, and I saw it after that, like, oh, it's finally gonna get better,
Mm-hmm.
better, right? But that was a couple of years before all of this. Yeah, it must have been your mom. So we were in the garage, and by this time, our quote marriage was just really us smoking weed in the garage and
Mm-hmm.
dissociating even more, right?
Sharing whatever memes or videos or Reddit posts that we saw.
Yeah, it wasn't it was a friendship.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just really empty. Um so I was well, I remember two different times. There was the time when I was in the yard because Bruno broke his back, basically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Bruno, our dog, we had two dogs,
The
two wiener
worm. The
dogs.
worm and Bruno.
The worm was the old dog, and Bruno is the little baby puppy
The worm
at
can
the
be heard on
time.
many episodes in the Patreon exclusive Curi-YAAS podcast.
um, yeah, Bruno like had this spine disc herniation thing twice, and the first time he had it, we were nursing him back to health, and I was out in the yard, and I just started crying, and I think that was what did I say with that? I don't remember.
That was the day you came out to me
Okay, all right,
because I
all
remember.
right.
I'm pretty sure it's the day you came out because you were sitting outside crying. I walk outside butt ass naked. That's Texas y'all.
God, I forgot that you did that.
Texas y'all.
I forgot that you slept naked, and I was always uncomfortable with that.
Sorry.
So yeah, um, Yeah, I guess that was the time. There was two different moments. So I guess that's when I came out to you. What did I say? I was gay.
You said you came out to me as bi,
Oh, okay.
and you said
Okay.
that you wanted to. I don't remember if you said you wanted to end the relationship or if you just said you wanted to explore
I think
other.
I was thinking at that point I wanted to explore it, but I felt incredibly terrible about having those feelings at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so that was like 6 months before the shy by thing.
Okay, so you did the shy by thing like when we were in couples therapy.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah.
So you came out to me. It was like Labor Day weekend, 2019.
Mhm.
I only remember this because I've told the story a lot, at least from my perspective.
Mhm.
So you came out to me, and then I'm pretty sure I resisted a bit, or I was,
Yes.
because I remember you're like, I think I'm bi, I like women, and I'm like, yeah, and duh, because like I could tell from like
Yeah.
the videos we would watch, and you're like, oh,
Right.
she's hot,
You're right.
she's really hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't.
It's really fuzzy in my mind because it was like a traumatic moment for me, so
Mm,
it's like half of it's blocked.
mm,
Um I think I said something like I need to explore that.
mhm.
So then we went to couples counseling, but it was a revolving door of therapists.
Oh, I love the first one. The first one we went to, she was so close.
Yeah.
She was the water chakras.
Yeah. Chakra lady.
She told me, I don't know what she told you, because maybe she told you something like different from me, but I remember very specifically she recommended me read it's like the book about introverts called Quiet. And it's like that's really not it at all. It's like I was really suppressing all my own shit. Um but she was also telling me that my water chakras were misaligned, and
Chakras.
I don't know. I think she just thought I was gay,
Mm,
like
yeah.
secretly gay.
Yeah. I, well, that was another thing that I kind of kept to myself about you because I didn't really know how to react to it. Um, and I just kind of blew it off as everybody likes their own, that everybody has some weird shit that they're into,
Mhm.
right? And I found trans porn on your computer, um, like when we first got married.
Mhm.
I thought during that time, we had a really hard time that first year.
Mhm. Mhm. It was really rough
And
cuz
you were mad.
you
Yeah.
like cuz that first year we got married, and then you had your internship like right away
Oh,
in
yeah.
Abilene,
Yeah.
and then from there we moved to San Antonio. You moved out there
Hmm.
first. You lived with my brother for a little bit, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And then I followed suit. We got a duplex or something.
Hmm.
And then like a week in, that was when my dad got diagnosed with his cancer stuff.
Right.
And you were working nights, I was working days, so we barely saw each other. I know I was getting like very fat and unhealthy and probably angry and not a great
Yeah.
person to be around.
Yeah.
which I really apologize for. Um, and about halfway into that, that was when I made the decision to move back with my parents and take my old job. That way I could spend the last like little bit of time I could with my father before he passed. Um, which at the time, I don't know. To me, at the time, that seemed like the best decision for me to make for myself. Um, as a couple, like it honestly, the thought never even crossed my mind at the time.
I was really angry about it, but I couldn't do anything, and like I was conflicted.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was really angry because I was all alone, but at the same time, it's like, what can I do? Your dad is dying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably what spurred on all of my shit.
Mm-hmm. All that alone time and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So then after that, you got a job in Houston or around Houston, and then we moved together. Um,
Hmm.
we lived at a house for about a year, and then we bought a new house. And about 2 or 3 years, that was when you came out, and we started doing marriage counseling. You convinced me to do my own therapist, and we bounced around. How many marriage counselors?
I think there was 4 or 5. Well, we saw 4 together, and I saw a 5th one by myself because nobody wanted to actually address the real problem because
Mm-hmm.
it's Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And that all of my shame about everything, that's where half of it comes from. Is Texas's attitudes about
About them
um,
queers.
yeah, yes. Yes. And I get so angry about it now because I'm seeing through my own therapy now, years later, that it played a giant part in my uh I guess attitudes towards my own orientation.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, I grew up in Colorado before legalization, so it wasn't liberal. It was
Mm-hmm.
moderate red, white Christian. That was the environment I grew up in. I'd only seen 2 gay people my entire time there growing up. Never saw any lesbians. I didn't have any representation at all. I didn't know it was an option. And that's also why I blew off feelings for my friends.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My best friend Christine, and then in college I had a big crush on a girl named Jennifer. Um, we were both in denial about it, but yeah, that was also, brushed away. Like, oh, it doesn't mean anything,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you have to be with the guy.
Do you remember any of the like activities or things any of them had us do? 'Cause I feel
Um,
like there was one guy that was also a little bit out there.
he didn't know what he was doing at all.
Definitely didn't know what he was doing.
He didn't know he shouldn't have been a couples therapist at all. Maybe he would have been good as a
A one on
individual
one,
person.
yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't know what he was doing, and So we couldn't go to the water chakras lady because while she was like attacking you,
I felt attacked by her.
she's very hostile towards you, and she did validate me. That was the only good thing about her. But when she started talking about chakras, I'm like, this isn't helpful for me. This isn't helpful right now.
Yeah, I mean, like she was trying to make it out like I was a completely bad person.
Right. And I think you were you just had some growing up to do.
I was just being a man.
And you were in a body that you didn't want to be in. But I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah, I didn't tell anybody yet.
I
You were
didn't
the first person I
know.
ever told anything to.
Yeah. I didn't know that was why you were so angry all those years. And I thought it was because of me.
I remember one of the things you would always bring up in marriage counseling or just when we would talk in general, you would always talk about like all the shame and guilt, just like you've been talking about.
Hmm.
And I would tell you, I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like for me, it was very relatable, but I felt like you were just kind of like blowing it off because you didn't know. You didn't. No one knew my shit.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you think that you're just gonna like hide it forever? Like you're just gonna suppress it forever?
hmm Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I that was the extent of my future. That of my thinking of my future was one day my kids or nieces and nephews or whoever, brother, sister, I'm
Hmm.
gonna die and they're gonna have to like go through all my shit and then find all my my bad
Um,
women's clothes or whatever. Like or you even.
the secret will die
Like
with you. Yeah,
yeah, that was my thought. And like now looking back on it, that's so fucking sad.
it's sad.
It's so
It's really
sad that I
sad.
thought that. But that is exactly it's exactly what I thought.
Yeah. I mean, I told myself, well, I've already made my bed. I'm already married. I've already made the decision. I didn't know at the time. Like, I kept going in that thought loop over and
hmm
over again. Like, I didn't know when I got married. But even though it's a hard decision, it's the right one to like be the actual you.
hmm hmm I
You
remember
might.
we also would go to like PFLAG meetings,
That was really helpful.
and those were so helpful, even in Texas.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember because we did a lot of these before I came out to you,
Hmm.
and I remember it was one of the only ones we actually made to downtown. We only made to like two downtown, maybe one even, because that guy in the
Yeah.
tiger shorts rear-ended us.
Yeah.
That's a whole other thing, though.
Freaking Volvo guy.
Yeah,
Jesus.
but I remember being in that room because they like split us off into like the gender section, which in my mind I wanted to go to the gender section, but I also wanted to be there to be supportive for you. So we went to the sexuality section, and we're just having our talk. And I don't remember the guy's name, and we don't have to say if you remember, please don't. But the thing that really sticks out in my mind was when he was saying that he did everything he thought he had to do to be happy, get married, have a great job, money, kids, but he just still wasn't happy. I remember he was talking about going up to like the pastor's cabin or something and like trying to kill himself. And
Yes. Yeah.
like
That
that
was such
that
a hard
story was
story.
so freaking powerful to me.
Yeah.
And like I know I think about that all the time. So, like, I mean, I didn't have
Yeah.
kids, but even from, I'm sure for you, I was just thinking about what you were just saying about, you're in your bed, you have the things that you're supposed to have to be happy, right? Minus kids, which you didn't want anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like I have the job, I have the house, I am married, I have all these things,
Fucking
I have
wiener
a
dogs.
car. I have my furry kids, but I'm still not happy. And I know that the person next to me isn't happy either for unknown reasons. And I'm like, I why am I sacrificing myself? And I'm so miserable. When do I actually get to be happy?
Hmm.
And that was a turning point for me. So after all of that stupid marriage counseling, I finally went to um well, no, so I came out to you as gay later
Hmm. Hmm.
after the
It's like
chat with the woman.
it was like December, like late December.
Yeah. And so we went to a different therapist that your therapist recommended, and it was a terrible choice because the woman that tried to quote counsel us was blaming my sexuality on my family dynamic.
That's Texas, y'all.
And and I said, "Oh hell no. I've been in therapy for years about my family. That has nothing to do with this.
That's a completely separate issue.
That's a completely different thing that I've worked through. I've worked through it already. This had nothing to do with that." So I was feeling so alone during that time. It was a really hard time for me. And then I finally found this one lady who I only saw once, and she finally validated me and all my feelings. And she said, "You know, you did your best. You you tried for 5 years, and you did what you could, and that's all you can do. So now you have to do what's best for you, not anybody else."
Hmm.
And so that's when we decided to get divorced. And that was really hard because we still had to live together for 9 months.
Oh yeah, we had our own baby in a weird way. Getting separated baby.
Getting separated, baby.
I've never thought of it that way. Don't listen to me. That was a dumb idea. Scratch that. We're not going to edit it out, but just forget about it.
Like the house?
No, no. So I know it was like early June, or not June, January, early January 2020. Um, we were also, well, no, it was like that first weekend of January. I remember I woke up. It was on the weekend. I had some crazy fucking dream. I don't remember what it was, but I
Mm-hmm.
remember getting up and you were in the bathroom in the hallway. And I remember that was the day that I came out to you.
Oh, yeah. You told me about that. And at the time, I was really irritated and angry about it because I felt like, I had gone through all of this crap for years, and, you like I felt like you're minimizing what I had just done by you. Now you have your own crisis, right?
Now.
Yeah, now you have your own crisis, and I don't mean anything, and I'm alone, right? I'm
Mhm.
alone in this. That's how I felt. And it was not a good time at all.
Mhm.
Um, so we had to kind of navigate that, and it was a really hard time.
What were your initial thoughts when I came out to you?
That I just told
Well,
you.
I mean, like about me, I guess. More personally.
Oh, well, since I was dealing with my own stuff, I had some disgust, and that was more, that was kind of projection because I've always been a tomboy. I've
Mhm.
always felt weird being feminine. I'm not a feminine woman. I'm definitely more mask.
Mhm.
Um,
No doubt.
like I don't mind being pretty every once in a while, but I'm not a dress person. I'm much more comfortable being either neutral or more on the dude side
Mhm.
because that's me. I've always been that way ever since I was a kid. But once again, I was shamed for that when I was a kid.
Mm. That shame,
And
it's a reoccurring theme.
right, right. When I got into middle school, I had all the peer pressure going on. So then I just did what I was supposed to do, right?
Mhm.
Um, and wore more girly clothes and makeup and everything else. And it was never for me, it was for the people around me and
Mhm.
to fit in.
Mhm.
Um, so, so yeah, I felt disgust for that. And I didn't, it was it was so many like things all at once jumbled together that it's hard to pick out.
Little
Um,
events, all these little things.
what, like, I'm talking about like feelings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, not no. The more that I was processing things, the
Mhm.
more things made more sense to me over time. Of why you're so angry all the time, um, and why you were depressed, and why I was attracted to you. um, because you weren't like the other dudes. You were a woman inside,
Mhm.
right? So it made total sense. Um, and then we both, over time, we started to be each other's like cheerleaders.
Mhm. I remember we would have our like themed parties
I like
on the
doing that.
weekends. We had our like 90s hip hop themed party, and
Yes.
we just we got really high and
Yeah.
watched like 90s hip hop music videos, and
I felt
I think
like
we
RJ.
I think we DoorDash like, I don't know,
Yeah.
Popeyes or something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and I called you out by you're looking like the running for president
oh, that was
on dress.
that was when I was like, because for me, like, you were the first person that I had told, and that was, that was really scary. And we didn't really talk about it for a few months, like a month or two, till like
Yeah, it was
February.
too.
It was whenever you and
Yeah,
I were in Colorado, because you and I were going to move to Colorado together to like help each other spread
yeah,
our wings, which I'm happy we didn't.
yeah.
Um,
It wasn't the right thing to do at the time.
no. But I remember we had a conversation when we were in Colorado, and I
Yeah,
think that you would just, for me, it was just, or for you, I guess, I was just like, I'm an open book. Anything you have to ask me, ask me. And I'm still very much like
yeah.
that. Um, but I remember, like, after we came back, that was when I had started to try to, like, present more around you.
I always laugh at presenting because, like, it's
Well, I don't like
well,
saying dressed up. I don't like,
now, it's
yeah.
not presenting, but
Well, now it's not, but at the time it was.
yeah.
But I've never really I never, like, for myself, I never really liked the term, like, I'm getting dressed up for
Yeah,
myself, because it's like,
you're just being the real you.
and I don't know, presenting even
Yeah.
just feels weird to say now. But I remember it was like probably the typical cross-dresser like fashion. I was wearing like office business like businessy wear.
Yes.
I remember you said we went out, we would go outside and like smoke in the backyard, and you said, what are you, running for office?
Yes. I took a picture of you and it looked like you were running for president. Woman president.
Well, maybe I need to run for woman president.
And I called you out.
You called me out. But, at the time, I didn't really have a lot of wardrobe. I had all my hidden cross-dresser gear that was hidden in the attic. And the attic you said you never would go into. But
It was a great hiding place because why would I go up there? I
because
have
that's where
no
my hidden
reason to
shit
go up there.
is. I don't know. And I hid it down deep, 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 deep. But I also
Well,
remember, like, you definitely helped push my style, I guess, from
yeah.
business whatever to just more like casual, which in my opinion
No,
is very
what
helpful
I
for
would
blending
say,
in.
real life.
Yeah. The one
Yeah.
for me that was the biggest like push was you were sitting on the couch and I walked in and you're like, what are you doing, going to a wedding? And I'm like, yeah.
Which one was that? The purple dress?
Yeah, it was like, it's got like
Yeah.
floral and stuff. I probably still have it.
Yeah. My
Um,
favorite theme night was the what is what's her name? Sarah Connor.
oh yeah, we had
Sarah Connor
Sarah
night.
Connor Terminator night, and you wore your like
Yes.
dykiest leather jackets and
Yes.
studs and whatever.
That was like, yes, this is me.
So yeah,
Leather.
we had those themed party nights or whatever where you were able to like express yourself, and I was like able to express
Yes.
myself. It was a seriously like judgment. Well, maybe not completely judgment free, because we were definitely laughing at each other in our own ways. But I also feel like they were just really good bonding moments too, and
Yeah.
I know it helped me a lot. Just get comfortable with just being myself.
Well, I know that you needed that little push. And we both needed it to get more comfortable with who we really are and not
Mm-hmm.
who we were trying to be for the other person.
Mm-hmm. And this was all like right during COVID,
Yeah.
probably right after I did the podcast episode 48.
The first
Um,
one.
yeah, my first one, because it didn't even come out for a while. I remember
Oh.
I did it. I did the podcast the second time I told anybody, and that after
Mhm.
that was I was waiting for the episode to come out. It took months and months and months. This is a reoccurring theme on the podcast. If the listeners haven't noticed, so it's not just me. Anyway, that's beside the point. That during that wait time, that was when we started doing those theme parties, and then I
Oh, the
remember,
COVID discovery, self
hmm
discovery time. Yeah, I think
yeah,
everybody
because
went through it.
well, for us, like I feel like nothing really changed that much for us, except we just couldn't go to restaurants. Because like your
Well, yeah,
work didn't
because I
change, my
still
work
had to
didn't
go to
change.
work. Yeah,
We both still had to leave the house and go to work.
yeah,
It was just we couldn't go out to eat dinner. That's why we started doing
yeah,
Uber Eats or whatever and doing our themed parties.
yeah.
Um, but I remember there was past that. It was for my birthday weekend. We were driving up to that Dark Sky Park to camp.
Oh, yeah, you were really mad or something
Well,
that
I
time.
remember. Well, I remember we had listened to my episode and Diane's episode
I
on the way
really like
there.
Diane.
Mia, where you at? She's missing in
Mew.
action. That's why she
Missing
likes
in
that name.
action.
She's missing in action.
Diane slash Mia. Yeah,
She needs to get back up here. Where are you
yeah.
at, Diane?
Where you at?
Because her episode is the one right after mine. I love her though; she's amazing.
Mm.
Um, so I remember we listened to that. That was the only time I've ever listened to that episode. I can't listen to it. Like I've tried several
Cause,
times.
cause of like just hearing your own voice or hearing the old you
Ooh, good question. I feel maybe
or
both.
both.
Maybe both. I
Yeah.
feel like hearing old me it's in itself is hard because there's definitely a different like speech. I speak
Hmm.
different for sure.
Oh yeah,
And
that's true.
there was just a lot of sadness in my voice. A lot of hurt.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's like to listen to it now is really hard.
yeah. It's like you empathize with your old self.
But I also want to listen to it to like reflect, But it's so fucking hard. I'm
You
not
need to
gonna.
do like a or do like like a transcription of it. Like just
Mm,
read it.
oh, I'm sure I could. I'm sure I could get that to happen. Um, Not too long after that, camping trip we fought. I remember I was mad because you didn't call me dude or something. That's hindsight, whatever.
Didn't call you that?
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know. It was something stupid. I was dealing with my own shit. And
yeah.
that was before we like officially like moved away from each other and trying to sell the house. And it's really stressful. And
Yeah, the divorce thing was going on.
the
That's
divorce thing
why.
was going on. And then you moved. You moved first. You found a place first.
Yeah.
How was that? How was that feeling like moving away? And
It was really hard at first because my therapist died on me.
oh yeah, for
Yeah. it was like this series of unfortunate events that were really devastating, and it's like, why is this happening? Like, this is the worst time for this to happen. So my therapist that I had that was really good, she died unexpectedly, and I didn't even know that she had died because she was old school, and we just were meeting on the phone. She wasn't taking any money from me, and I thought somehow, I don't know, I didn't know what was going on, honestly. Like, somehow she was making up the money from the insurance. I don't know, right? So we
Don't
were supposed
question
to
it.
have,
Just accept it.
yeah, so we were supposed to have this session, and like, something weird happened where, oh, the time went by and nothing, like, she missed it. She missed the meeting. So I called her. There's something weird. So I had like a session with her, and then the next week, I think I tried to call her to schedule something, and I caught her. She answered the phone, but she was in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also at work, so I could not hear her very well from the work phone. Um, and she said she was in the hospital. Okay, so that's what happened. I called her to schedule an appointment, and I was waiting for her to get out of the hospital, but she never did. But I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know that. So the next time our scheduled time came around, which was after I moved, like right after I moved,
Mm-hmm.
nothing happened. So I called her phone. The mailbox was full. So I ended up Googling her obituary.
That's a shitty way to find out your therapist passed.
Yeah, it was terrible. And I'm so glad that I have Lil Kim as my friend. Um, Lil Kim, I've worked with her for like 4.5 years in Houston, and she's like my best friend. She's she's like a surrogate mom too.
Mm.
Um,
Your mother
I
would be
called
here.
her. I called her, and I just bawled my eyes out. She's like, "I'm really sorry. You'll get somebody else. It'll be okay." So I found another therapist on one of those online app thingies,
Mm-hmm.
Sondermind or something like that. And they paired me up with this guy. So our session day came around, and the dude didn't show up. No call, no show.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really angry. So I went back online, and I want a different therapist button. And I picked like LGBTQ whatever
Mm-hmm.
button. So then they paired me up with a different lady who was a lot better.
Well, I mean, yeah, if she showed up, I mean, that's already like
Yeah,
100% better.
it's already
Like you can only
so
go
much
up from
better.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. Um the only problem with her was that she was older, so she had come out at like age 17. So
Mm.
she couldn't quite relate to some of the things that I was having problems with. So I didn't feel as
You know what that sound is? That's a sound that it means it's time to go to the Curi-YAAS podcast.com website and go to the right-hand side and subscribe to the Patreon for Patreon exclusive content that we put out sometimes. You can also join the Curi-YAAS confidential Discord server where there's all kinds of support for the Curi-YAAS listener, including significant other support. There is support for just general support. There's a place where you can share your pictures and just talk with people. Things, share your hobbies. This is chat server. There's all kinds of chat server stuff to do. Great place to join. Great place to get support for all of the Curi-YAAS podcast listener needs. So anyway, continue.
back to you.
And back to you.
Yeah.
And back to the
Sorry.
podcast. Isn't that right, Lauren?
My phone was chiming from my other
Your other podcast
coach.
you have to do? Who are you cheating on with me with other podcasts?
This is my only podcast.
From your, what was it?
My
Your
other my lesbian life
Your
coach.
shybypod.com.
No.
Go to the shyby.pod.com website. Don't buy them some coffee or Ko-Fi. We don't know how you say it. But you can find it on the Curi-YAAS podcast.com website.
No, so I felt really alone and really sad over there for a bit, and I was just dealing with residual angry feelings about the marriage. But like slowly getting out of that like resentment cloud, that got better. I was really lonely, so I got on Reddit a lot and talked to different online people, and I made a friend that I still have today that I still talk to. Her real name is Ernestine.
Ernestine? That's a cool name.
But her Reddit name is Luna, so that's what I call her. And she's a lady in San Antonio. So she's like a 90s lesbian.
What's a 90s lesbian? Please enlighten
90s.
me.
Like think Melissa Etheridge. Jeans and a t-shirt. That kind of thing.
Okay, so if you have jeans and a t-shirt, you're a 90s lesbian.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but like we get each other's humor, and she always knows like the perfect thing to say that makes me feel better, and she's also got a really dark sense of humor as well, so we get each other.
So in that alone time, you found your own like support network, and you found people that liked you for you.
Right. So I slowly started building up my friends, mostly online because it was COVID, but I did find one friend in person that I was friends with for a while off of Lex. That's an app. And that's
How do you spell that?
LEX. L is in leopard. EX.
E is an X.
E as in ex spouse, right?
Do you consider me your ex-husband or ex-spouse or
No,
ex-wife?
I say ex spouse
Hmm.
because it's weird to say ex husband
Hmm.
because you're not a man anymore. Not a man.
If ever.
So
I just played one.
yeah, you just played one, and I played a woman, I guess.
A straight woman.
Yeah, I played a straight woman.
A
Yeah.
cis-het. Boring ass cis-het female.
Yeah, like I just gotta be real with everybody. Straight life is so fucking boring.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's so boring. I'd never want to live a straight life. I have to live some kind of flavor of the rainbow life. It's like the things that the straights get excited about.
Like what? What do the straights get excited about?
Like think
Dave
about
Matthews?
like oh, we bought a house and we're living
Oh.
and our neighbors and
I mean,
right, like
I don't know. I like neighbors. I like houses. I've had a lot of
it's
cool
just
experience with people's neighbors lately.
it just seems like they have very mundane lives
I could
compared to
definitely see that. Yeah, I see that a lot. Like just the generic family life, I think, in itself
generic,
is.
and it's very repetitive. Like there's no change from day to day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's no excitement. There's no craziness. There's no novelty.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is if you're ADHD, that's like the worst kind of life. Because there's no novelty, there's no excitement or urgency at all, no creativity.
Pretty much.
And that's definitely part of why well, I'm sure we both weren't really happy in that
High uppy.
straight laugh.
Sometimes that text and tends to slip out, doesn't it?
What? Did it show up?
doesn't
Sometimes
that
it'll
doesn't
it'll
that
come
texting
out.
kind of slip out sometimes?
Yeah,
It
sometimes
sure
it
does,
comes
doesn't it?
out. Yeah.
Hey y'all.
Yeah. Y'all. I would tell you I'm never gonna say that. I'm never gonna say y'all.
You would tell me that all the fucking time. Like, just give in and just say y'all. It's all encompassing. It means
And
all
and
y'all.
now now I'm like, this is the best word to choose for this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's all inclusive. That's
Y'all.
why I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Um yeah. I joined some groups online during that time and they were really helpful for me. So
What
I
kind of
did
groups
the
were they online?
there's so I was in Houston obviously. So um at the what is that place called?
I don't know. There's a lot of
Montrose
places.
Montrose Center.
Oh, okay. The LGBTQ center,
Yeah.
basically.
It's called the Montrose Center and they had a bunch of different uh, support groups. So I went to the coming out support group uh, every week, and it was on Zoom, and that was definitely a lifesaver for me.
Hmm.
Um, just for the fact that there are other people going through the same thing, I
Mm.
wasn't alone. I could be vulnerable, and everybody would just be really supportive. They weren't trying to deny my existence
Hmm.
and my struggles.
In the groups, did you learn any tips or any like thought processes or any, I don't know, any kind of like thing to help maneuvering coming out?
Um, well, a lot of a lot of being like comfortable in your own skin is knowing that other people are going through the same thing as you.
Hmm.
You're not alone. And they had the group mom, right?
Mm.
There's this older lady there, and her daughter her daughter is gay, I think. Um, but she was there. Like her daughter didn't go to the group anymore, but she was a volunteer.
Uh,
So she was like the designated mom to say, you're fine just the way you are. We all love you. God loves you. Blah blah blah. And like you need to hear that. you
hmm.
know?
It's true. It's true.
It's really important to hear that, even if um, like that cognitively, it's a lot harder to know it like in your heart
Hmm. Hmm.
and to unlearn what society has brought on you. The deprogramming, that's the hardest part. And I'm still unlearning a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just a process, and just to have compassion for yourself and to be easy on yourself. Like, hey, this is hard. It's hard to live in a society that's not configured for you to live in,
Hmm.
right?
Has coming out gotten any easier for you since coming out the first time?
Um, well, I was definitely nervous when I moved away. Um, so I belonged to the coming out group, and then another group, which was like a national one.
Hmm.
And this was after me doing a bunch of digging on Reddit for support groups for late blooming lesbians.
I've
Um,
I've I've heard that term quite a few times.
yeah. So there's this group called the Bloomers. And now I think there's a lot more groups like this.
Hmm.
And they all have different names. I don't know what all the different groups are anymore. I was part of the original Bloomers group, and it was a group of maybe 50 to, like 50 something ladies, and they're all different ages. I was one of the younger ones,
Hmm.
um, but most of them were like 40s and 50s, and then a little bit older. So we would have Zooms every week and just talk about what was going on for everybody. Um, you'd have the just starting out people, they were still in their marriages, still married to men, etc. And then you'd have on the other end of the group people who have been out for a couple of years, and they're living their new life,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard on both sides
Mm-hmm.
in different ways. Um, in Houston, I was really hoping that I could find more of a community there, but COVID messed it up. Um, but also just the culture there,
Mm-hmm.
that didn't help either. Um, a lot of people are really closed off. I would go to the lesbian bar, and it was brutal there. It was
Mm-hmm.
not welcoming at all.
Mm-hmm.
You better go there with your girlfriend or not go at all. Like a huge group of friends, your girlfriend, or not at all. Don't go when you're single, because everybody will look at you like you're trash. That's how I felt when I was there.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And
yeah, you're
that
single.
created,
You're a single piece of trash, you know.
yeah, like how dare you be actually looking for friends, right? Uh, I went a couple times with different women, and I went with this girl uh, who I met off of the Bloomers, and she liked me, but I wasn't. I mean, I just wanted to be friends with her. I didn't want to have a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I got myself in this weird situation where um, it's like, oh, she likes me, and I don't really have any opportunities. The apps were really bad. They're still bad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Some things never change.
Yeah, some things never change, right? A lot of the apps just have fake profiles, and it's really lonely on the apps. Um, so I went with this girl, and she was one of those people who bought everybody drinks, and she was like your dad, where
Mm-hmm.
she made friends with everybody.
Oh.
And I'm I'm okay with one-on-one, but going up to people and starting a conversation and all of that, like that's still terrifying for me because I have social anxiety. I couldn't even go into the lesbian bar with how much anxiety I had. I called you one time, didn't I? Where
Mm-hmm.
I I was trying to do exposure therapy on myself, trying to go into this place, just set foot in it,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Yeah,
was forcing myself.
I had to give you a pep talk.
I was forcing myself, and
To do
I
it, just do it.
I went and got I went and got food there, and I just picked it up and ran away. Like that's how scared I was of being in there, but for good reason.
Mm-hmm.
So this girl took me to this place, and we stayed there the whole time. Uh, it was super crowded. All kinds of people were in there. We were dancing. It wasn't that bad. Um, I had a lot to drink. She had way more to drink than I did. And
Mm-hmm.
then she was buying drinks for everybody else. And we were there, and we were talking. She was talking to some other girl, and I couldn't hear anything because I'm right next to the stage, and it's this
Mm-hmm.
DJ. So I'm just being innocent, and they're both talking and they're like looking at me and shit. And so my friend goes to the bathroom, and so I try to talk to this other girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what were you guys talking about? And the girl says, oh, she was telling me about you guys were looking for friends and stuff, and because you were both late to the game, blah blah blah. I said, yeah, um, yeah, we're looking for people to hang out with, and you know, you seem like a cool person. Do you want to hang out? And she gave me this disgusted like look, like, yeah, yes. She gave me this disgusted look, and she said, I'm not that desperate. And I'm like,
Mm.
okay.
Well, I wouldn't be that desperate either. Fuck her.
Right. But these were the kinds of
The people that you were
these are the kinds of
around.
interactions I was having in Houston.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So me being gay wasn't easy at all. There. It didn't become any easier there. And
No.
I got to this point where I was at like rock bottom with I couldn't get dates. I couldn't I had one friend that was really good, but that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And she had this longtime girlfriend. She was just as introverted as me, so she didn't really know anybody else in the community. Houston is very closed off, and everybody's got their tiny group of friends, and they don't want to let anybody else in.
I felt that way too when I
So,
was there. But I kind of felt like that with Texas in general when I was there.
yeah, that's a Texas thing,
I can't imagine
apparently.
it would be any better now, but maybe it would be. I don't
No,
know. Probably not.
no, I don't see it changing at all. But
If you're
little,
a Curi-YAAS listener and you're around Houston or Texas in general and you want to come, like, tell me why it's better, let me know.
um, even though Kim has told me, little Kim's from New Orleans, and she said that when she moved to Houston, it was a big culture shock because everybody's so closed off
Mm-hmm.
and doesn't want to do anything. So I got to this rock bottom where I hit this wall, and I was really depressed. And I got to like suicide
Mm.
thoughts.
Mm.
And it was a scary time for me. Um, I called everybody that day that, all my friends that I knew. And it was during the day, like during the work part of the day. So, people are busy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had to call the hotline. And I told the guy on the hotline about everything, and he just helped me put everything in a perspective. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I know this is hard right now, but it's not going to be hard forever. And then the next day, I went to my psychiatrist, of course. I got
Mm-hmm.
on medication because I wasn't on any antidepressants at the time. And that really did help a lot
Mm-hmm.
and got me out of that. But I really needed to get out of there. So then I got roped into coming to Montana.
Well, we were still waiting for all the divorce stuff to like finalize and stuff,
Yeah,
and then you moved to Montana in like June, I think,
yeah,
21, June 21.
yeah. I moved in June and I got an
So
apartment.
so you said, "Fuck this red ass state. I'm gonna go to this other one.
Right. And it was good for me financially. It made
Mm-hmm.
financial sense,
Mm-hmm.
and it was
Mm-hmm.
only 2 years. And I saw that they had an LGBTQ center here
Mm-hmm.
in this town, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I went to a thing on Halloween that year,
Mm-hmm.
some trunk or treat thing. And I tried to make friends with the people, but they were not having it
Mm.
because, again, it's a tiny ass town. They all know each other. And they were polite with me, but they didn't really want to get to know me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, fuck them. And so I just kind of went to work and home and talked to my friends online. And that's basically how it's been. And then me having multiple relationships in a row
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
over the 2 years.
Yeah, you've had a lot of your own things, which we'll probably be talking about in another episode for the Patreon.
Yeah.
Um, we'll have to save that though because we're almost out of time on this one. Um, so in that 2 years, I know for the first year, like when you lived in Houston and I lived out on my own, we didn't really have that frequent of contact. It was every once in a while, and it was pretty cordial. Um, we did
Yeah, but
anytime we
you're
met up, it was
still,
always I was still doing my own shit.
yeah, you were still in Texas and you're still miserable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I remember we went to couple of drag shows.
Yeah.
We went to the one on New Year's, and that one was a lot of fun. And then we went again to Hamburger Mary's in Houston, and we like celebrated our divorce.
That was so
We got to go
weird.
on. We got to go on stage, and then I came
That was
out. That was also my first day of not wearing a wig. I remember that day just mostly because of
wow.
that. Um, but then, like once you moved, we didn't really talk for a while.
Yeah, I was
Like,
dealing
kind
with my
of,
own stuff
yeah.
over here.
Um, just in this brief little bit of time before I have to end this one, I do want to say that I really do value and appreciate all of your love and support through all of this. Um,
Thank you.
I know there's been a lot of times whenever I've been really down in the dumps and you know suicidal or borderline suicidal or whatever, and you've always been there to talk to me or help me out, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you. That really means a lot. I've been there. I've been through the ringer this past like decade.
Mm-hmm,
I've
mm-hmm.
gone through so much shit. It's a normal person would see all the shit that I've been through in my life and be like, "How are you still here?"
Yeah.
So I get it.
Well, you're a strong ass woman. Sometimes I mean, not
Yeah,
you're always strong, but I meant the
yeah,
woman sometimes.
yeah. I'm only a woman sometimes. Like when I feel like it.
Would you say our relationship's better now than it was
Yes,
when we were let me finish the question. Why do you think our relationship's better now than it was before?
because we're being real. We're being our real selves.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not trying to make a marriage work.
That does help.
It's always been a friendship. It wasn't meant to be a romantic thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So.
That's really all the questions I have. Do you have any? I don't really have a whole lot of questions, so I don't come prepared for these things.
Oh,
I just active listen. Sorry, we've already got an hour and 40 minutes. It's pretty good.
yeah.
Do
Well,
you,
we talked for like 4 hours.
that's true. That's true. Um, do you have any questions for me, or any things that you want to tell me, or
um,
open forum?
I there was a lot of times in the marriage where I was like, why am I with you? And I like, why am I torturing myself when I'm not
Mm-hmm.
happy? And um, like just you being angry and miserable and whatnot all the time. Um, Now I can look back and know why. Like I have an explanation and I can remove myself from that.
It wasn't you, and
Yeah,
I really I do deeply apologize.
yeah. And I know we talked about this
Mm-hmm.
before, and but it's good to like have that resolved,
Mm-hmm. For sure. For sure.
and and we're each other's cheerleaders because I've called you when I'm like anxiety ridden and my head's about to explode. Like when I went to Seattle to see if I wanted to live there, and I had to call her because I was having a mental breakdown in the car,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
forcing myself to go into this little gay bar to go see a comedy show.
And it was pretty damn fun, wasn't it?
Yes. And it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. But all of my past experiences in Houston, they traumatized me.
Mm-hmm.
They really traumatized me. So I had this view of like this PTSD of going to
Mm-hmm.
gay bars after that.
Well,
So
I'm very happy that you mustered up the courage and strength to go inside and let loose and enjoy yourself. Because I know that had to have been a transformative experience for you. Even if it's just something simple as
yeah,
going into the gay bar. I mean, that can be huge. Those little tiny steps like that.
yeah, I went in there and the host was named um, Bobby Higley. I was looking at Bobby Higley's Instagram, and I'm like, damn, I want to be Bobby Higley's friend so bad. Like a cool person to hang out with. But
Do it. Be his friend or be their
uh,
friend. Her
um,
friend.
I think I think her pronouns are she, her, but
Okay.
it,
Well,
yeah.
be Bobby's friend. Be Bobby Higley's friend.
So
I apologize, Bobby Higley. I don't mean
once
to
I
offend
actually
you.
moved there,
Start messaging Bobby now on Instagram.
it's
Yeah,
like
yeah. Be a
Bobby doesn't
psycho.
know me. No, I want to be a psycho.
Yeah, no, be a psycho and just like comment on their stories or whatever. And then when
I
you're like,
do. I do that.
do they ever respond?
Yeah, but not like, you
Not
know.
frequently. Well, just keep it up because maybe next time you see them, they'll be like, "Hey, it's you. I remember you from Instagram.
Yeah.
We message you. Always like my stuff." And You never
I
know.
was really appreciative that Bobby Higley put me with the other person that was alone there, that came by
Mm,
themselves. That was so, like, considerate. I
hmm
really liked that. That would never happen in Houston.
Well, I really hope that Houston has gotten better with some of the post-ish COVID times. But I
I
also feel like it probably hasn't with all of the
yeah,
anti-LGBT stuff going on there. But maybe
yeah,
it's
yeah.
better, hopefully.
As dumb as Montana is, like,
Montaigne.
it's it's just hard to find people in Montana. That's all.
Hmm
It's a numbers game here.
Yeah,
It's
there's so
not
much
that they're
space.
assholes.
They're just spread out.
There's just not very many. But it's a lot easier to talk to people over here in that regard.
Mm. Have you found a lot of because it's a cross-dressing podcast? Have you found a lot of cross-dressing individuals there or trans individuals?
Um, in my various uh,
Personal times.
personal times, yes.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say a lot of them, but yes,
Some.
there are some people.
It's a good
One of
answer.
my ex one of my ex-girlfriends is a trans woman, so
Hmm.
um, yeah.
So you hear that, all you Montaigne listeners slash viewers, or however you're intaking all of this content, just be out and open about your shit. Because how the fuck are they gonna find you if you're so few and far between and you're not fucking open about it? How are you gonna find the support? And honestly, I feel like this is just everywhere in general, not just Montana. And this is, in my opinion, why like visibility is so important. Because like,
Yeah.
how are you going to find the people that love you and support you if you don't show them yourself, if you're not seen?
How in the hell are you supposed to? What does she say? How in the hell are you going to
How the hell are
find
you going to love
others like
somebody? No, no.
you?
How the hell are you going to love yourself or love others if you can't love yourself? But that's fucking true though, because like when you start loving yourself,
Yeah.
it really allows you to give more love, and it allows you to like receive more love.
And people see that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They
You can
do.
see it on
They
people's
do.
faces.
They do.
Like, hey, oh, that person's being themselves. It's like a light coming out of the, like, shining out of their eyes.
Yeah. And I know I've seen a lot of that light coming out of my eyes, and I've seen a lot coming out of yours too. But
Yeah.
I know that that light could burn brighter. But it's
It's
getting
just where
there.
I am.
It's getting
It's
there.
just where I am, and I'm just waiting. I'm just
You're getting
waiting.
there. You're getting there.
Eventually, it'll actually be out for real out.
That was a lot of conversation there.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I feel good. I hope everybody has, like, gets something out of my story and helps somebody somewhere.
Yeah.
Um, and if you ever, like, I'm open to talk to people. Like, if you're lonely or whatever, I don't have a job, so
You
you
should.
can talk to me right now.
I know exactly what you can do. You can pause this episode of the Curi-YAAS podcast and go to the curiyaspodcast.com website, and you can scroll to the side and go to the bottom where it says join the Discord server, and you could go on there to the spousal support or significant other support. Maybe you'd be a good resource.
Oh, okay. On Discord. I
Yeah,
never.
I'll send you a link if you're
I'm
open to
always
joining.
okay. I'm like old, and Discord doesn't make sense to me. So
Well, I guarantee you there are people far older than you that are on there, and they're far successful. They're
they
by
know
far more
what I mean.
successful at that than I am. So, um, we're about up on time on this episode. Um, thanks again, Lauren, for coming on here, and I know it's can be a difficult thing to talk about, and but
Yeah.
I feel like you and I are in a really good place, and I honestly I can't wait for you to be seen, because you deserve to be
Damn it!
seen.
You're gonna almost make my eyes water. Don't look at my eyes.
Well, you deserve to be seen, like,
I
and that really goes
know.
for all the listeners and watchers, or everybody. Everybody deserves to be seen. I see you.
I'm dying to be seen. I
I
want to be
see
seen.
I see the glint in your eye. I do, and someday soon the fire is gonna
Yeah,
erupt. I know
yeah.
you'll
I
get
want to
there.
be like your model beach pictures. I want that for
Man,
me.
I'm having all my growth.
uh,
Well, on that note, thanks again. Um,
you're welcome.
hope you can probably find Lauren on the Curi-YAAS podcast Discord server, possibly.
If you want to talk to me on Instagram and be my friend, that's fine too. It's just Lauren Rayner.
Oh, that's a hard one to find.
It's a really hard one to find.
um, yeah, I don't know. That's all I have. We'll say our
Yeah.
goodbyes, and then I'll do my outro. So,
Oh, okay. All right. Bye.
bye. Um,
Bye.
bye. Okay, so here's the outro. Here's the outro. Okay.
Okay.
I haven't said it in a few months, so bear with me. I'm just gonna do it one
Oh.
take though. Um, I'm not here to diagnose or treat anything. I'm just here on the podcast to share my story, have others come on the podcast to share their stories, to have you, or to teach you, or help teach you the world about cross dressing, sexuality, and gender, that kind of stuff. I'm not a doctor. So, yeah, anyway, love you. Be seen. Bye again.
Bye.